What if the one person you trusted most in the world betrayed you? What if the life you sacrificed everything for was built on a terrible lie? This is the story of Sera, a tale of loyalty, betrayal, and a justice that transcends the boundaries of life and death. Our story begins in the shimmering heart of a kingdom, a place of marble halls and golden spires. Here lived Sera, not a princess, but something far more vital. She was the royal confidant, the sworn protector of the young crown prince, Elian. From the moment he was born, she was his shadow, his guardian, his second mother. She had no family of her own, no children, no life outside the palace walls. She had willingly given up everything, love, personal ambition, a life of her own, to ensure the prince's safety and well-being. To her, he was not just a future king, he was the son she never had. Every scraped knee, every nightmare, every quiet moment of triumph, she was there. Her devotion was absolute, her loyalty, the very bedrock of the monarchy's future. The king and queen praised her constantly, calling her a treasure of the kingdom. They promised her a place of honor for the rest of her days, a promise as golden as the crown Elian would one day wear. But promises, like glass, can shatter. One fateful evening, a priceless royal heirloom, the starfire diamond, vanished from a locked vault. Panic swept through the palace. The diamond wasn't just a jewel, it was a symbol of the kingdom's divine right to rule. The search was frantic, but fruitless. Then, whispers started. Vicious, calculated whispers that pointed to the one person who had unfettered access to every corner of the palace, the one person who was always near the royal family, Sera. It was a lie, a masterfully crafted deception. The real culprits were a faction of greedy nobles, led by a cunning duke who saw the theft as a way to destabilize the throne and seize power. They had manipulated the evidence, planting false clues and bribing guards to weave a narrative of betrayal. But the royal family, blinded by paranoia and political pressure, needed a scapegoat. They needed a swift resolution to calm the public and project an image of strength. And so, they turned on Sera. The queen, a woman whose child Sera had raised, looked at her with cold, accusatory eyes. The king, who had once called her a sister, declared her a traitor. But the deepest cut came from Elian. The boy she had loved as her own, now a young man, stood by silently, his face unreadable. He did not defend her. He did not question the absurd charges. His silence was the confirmation she needed. Her world crumbled. They accused her of treason, of plotting against the very family she had dedicated her life to. It was a swift, merciless verdict. To cover their tracks and prevent any chance of the truth emerging, they didn't grant her a public trial. Instead, under the cloak of darkness, she was banished. Dragged from the palace she had called home, she was cast out into the ancient, forbidden forest that bordered the kingdom, a place of tangled roots and forgotten magic, a place from which no one ever returned. They left her there to be forgotten, a convenient lie to preserve a fragile peace. As she stumbled through the gnarled trees, heartbroken and betrayed, Sera didn't just weep. A different kind of energy began to build within her. A lifetime of selfless devotion, now repaid with the ultimate treachery, curdled into something potent and powerful. She reached a clearing, where an ancient, moss-covered stone altar stood, pulsating with a faint, ethereal light. This was a place of old magic, a place where oaths held real power. Raising her hands to the stormy sky, she spoke, her voice no longer trembling with sorrow, but ringing with a chilling resolve. "I gave my life, my love, my everything," she declared to the whispering woods. "I asked for nothing in return but loyalty. For this betrayal, may a curse fall upon this royal line. May they never know true peace. May the shadow of my sacrifice haunt their dreams and poison their joy. Let them feel the coldness of a broken heart, generation after generation, until the truth of my innocence is proclaimed from the highest tower of the very palace that cast me out." As she spoke her final word, a blinding flash of emerald light erupted from the altar, engulfing her and surging towards the distant castle. The ground trembled, and the wind howled like a mournful spirit. In that moment, Sera was gone, but her curse had just begun. Back at the palace, a strange chill settled over the royal family. The Duke and his co-conspirators celebrated their victory, believing they had silenced the only threat. The King and Queen tried to move on, burying their guilt under layers of royal duty. Prince Elian ascended the throne, becoming King Elian, and he too tried to forget the woman who had raised him. But the curse was a patient predator. It started subtly. Every member of the royal family began to experience the same disturbing dreams. They dreamed of a heartbroken woman weeping in a dark forest, her cries echoing with their own names. They dreamed of the Starfire diamond, not stolen, but hidden in the Duke's own secret treasury. During the day, an inexplicable sadness would descend upon them, a deep, gnawing guilt that had no apparent source. The laughter of their children sounded hollow. The taste of fine wine turned to ash in their mouths. Lavish celebrations felt like funerals. The curse grew stronger with each passing year. The royal line was plagued by misfortune. Royal children were born with a melancholic disposition, often staring into the distance as if seeing a ghost only they could perceive. The kingdom, once prosperous, suffered from unexplainable droughts and famines. The people began to whisper that the royal family was cursed, that the divine favor they once claimed had abandoned them. Generations passed, and the story of Sera was buried, dismissed as a footnote of a traitor long gone. But her presence was a constant, oppressive weight upon the palace. The haunted dreams continued, passed down from father to son, from mother to daughter. The truth, like a seed planted in darkness, was slowly pushing its way toward the light. Centuries later, a young, scholarly prince named Kale ascended the throne. Unlike his ancestors, Kale was not interested in power or politics, but in history and truth. He was plagued by the same sorrowful dreams, but instead of ignoring them, he became obsessed. He felt a profound connection to the weeping woman in his dreams and was determined to understand her story. He spent countless hours in the royal archives, digging through dusty scrolls and forgotten journals. One day, he found it. Tucked away in a secret compartment of an old desk was the private diary of the guard captain from the time of the Starfire diamond's disappearance. In shaky, guilt-ridden handwriting, the captain confessed everything. He detailed the Duke's entire plot, the planted evidence, the bribes, and the terrifying silence of the royal family. He wrote of Sera's innocence and his own shame in participating in the cover-up. He described her being dragged into the forbidden forest, her final, heartbroken gaze fixed upon the palace. Armed with the truth, King Kale was horrified. He saw now that his family's legacy was built upon a foundation of lies and a monumental injustice. The curse wasn't just a string of bad luck. It was a righteous consequence, a cry for justice that had echoed through centuries. He did not hesitate. The next day, King Kale gathered the entire court and all the citizens in the grand plaza before the palace. He stood on the royal balcony, the old diary in his hand, and read the confession aloud for all to hear. He exposed the Duke's ancient treachery and, most importantly, his own family's cowardly complicity. He then made a solemn proclamation. Sera was not a traitor. His voice boomed across the plaza, filled with a conviction his ancestors lacked. She was the most loyal soul this kingdom has ever known, and my family betrayed her. From this day forward, she will be honored as a martyr and a guardian spirit of this kingdom. Her story will be taught to every child, a lesson in loyalty and a warning against the poison of convenient lies. At that very moment, as the king spoke the final words of his proclamation, a single, brilliant ray of sunlight pierced through the clouds and illuminated the highest spire of the palace. A gentle, warm breeze swept through the plaza, and for the first time in centuries, the oppressive chill that had clung to the royal family lifted. The collective weight of guilt was gone. That night, King Kale dreamed one last time. He saw Sera, but she was no longer weeping in a dark forest. She stood in a sunlit meadow, smiling, a single tear of vindication tracing a path down her cheek before she turned and faded into the light. Justice had been served. The curse was broken. Sera's sacrifice was finally, truly, honored. This story teaches us a powerful lesson. Truth cannot be buried forever. Injustice, no matter how well hidden, will always leave a scar. True honor is found not in covering up our mistakes, but in having the courage to face them and make things right, no matter how much time has passed. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more tales that explore the depths of the human heart. Until next time, stay curious and always seek the truth.